All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 84 of Facts and Stats. Here with me, I have a guest. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself, then we're going to go ahead and get started.
What's going on, y'all? It's Jordan Davis here. You can find me on Twitter at jdavis34 underscore, Instagram jdavis34. Yeah, I'm ready to, talk ball. I be in the spaces, 24/7. So yeah, I'm ready to talk ball individually now.
Nah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming on. Yeah, Twitter Spaces. I do host Twitter Spaces every day at 11 a.m. Anybody that may be unaware, it's at Facts and Stats underscore on Twitter. Averaging over probably 200 people at a time and 1,000 people plus a day that tap into Fact and Stats Twitter Spaces. So make sure y'all tap in. Other than that, before we get to the sports talk, I want you to, like tell the people a little bit about yourself, like what you do on a day to day basis for the most part.
All right. Well, I'm currently a senior at North Carolina A&T State University. I study journalism, and I currently am a sports writer. I work up at Duke University, and I'm one of the sports writers for Spectacular Magazine Sports in Durham, North Carolina. Um, and yeah, I've been covering Duke for the past few months, and before that, I was covering NC State football, and before that, I was covering NC State women's basketball. So, yeah, and then other than that, I'm the sports editor up in my school, and I just got hired part of the Sports Journalism Institute. And this summer, I'll be working with Clarion Ledger for USA Today in Jackson, Mississippi. So, yeah, I got everything
Yeah, I
starting
mean,
up.
yeah, you doing your thing, man. I wanted to bring you on because one, again, like I love everything that you're doing. Obviously, we follow each other on Twitter, and you're
Mhm.
actually like on the court recording the players as they're doing their pre-shoot around, post game. You're even doing the post game interviews as well. What's all that experience like for you, man?
It's all new to me. It's still crazy to me. Like if you saw, I just posted a TikTok like we were just talking about, but I just
Yeah,
posted like a day in the life
I seen that.
of me working at Duke, like how just the whole setup and me getting there and what that all looks like, and like there's a moment in there like, and I'm taking time to myself. I'm like, damn, I'm really at Cameron Indoor Stadium right now, like, and it's a lot of people, and when you in it, you really don't realize it.
Hmm.
Like like I still I kind of I won't say take advantage of it, but I kind of well take it for granted. Yeah, I take it for granted still, like even when I'm up there, like not taking. I'm not gonna say not taking it seriously, but like like you don't like when I'm in the moment, like I'm not thinking about, like me being at Duke and me interviewing, being in a locker room until like I see people in my comments like, yeah, this is my dream job, bro. Like you doing what I want to do. How do I get there? And it's like other people, just always asking me for advice. And it's just, what I would just say to people is keep at it. Like I didn't get to Duke overnight. Like I just said, I was working NC State football. I was doing stuff in the summer, just perfecting my craft, kept on writing. Like I said, I'm the editor at the newspaper, so I started, early, and it just took me a lot to get here. So anybody that don't, main advice I get to people is to just stay at it and perfect your craft, because at the end of the day, the work is what gets you there. So, but yeah, other than that, like yeah, like I said, it's really crazy. Like I said, just being able to work some people's dream jobs every day, and I just got to make sure I don't take it for granted. And yeah, so.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Well said, bro. I'm super, super, super proud of you. Before we go ahead and jump into some of these NBA topics, obviously All Star Weekend is here. If you still watching this video, I know we're only 4 minutes in. I would assume most of you are. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell a friend about Facts and Stats. Again, this is episode 84. I am now also expanding to TikTok while I'm traveling to different schools in the DMV area, giving the high school kids exposure. So make sure y'all check that out as well. At Facts and Stats underscore on all platforms. And most importantly, check out the Facts and Stats website. Merch is always available. So just wanted to shout that out. Um, Other than that, the biggest thing that took place at this NBA trade deadline that I want to talk to you about, the biggest to me, well, one of the biggest to me, Kevin Durant getting traded to the Phoenix Suns. I want to know your thoughts on that. They're currently sitting at 32 and 28. Obviously, that Western Conference seeding race been pretty super duper tight for the whole year. They're probably the sixth seed, I believe, right now with the or
In
fifth.
the five seed.
Yeah, the
Fifth,
fifth,
yeah.
the fifth with Dallas at six. What's your thoughts on the Suns? Adding Kevin Durant, and they just lost to the Clippers last night. Not too much. I'm not too worried about that. But what's your thoughts on the Suns overall with Kevin Durant potentially most likely coming back after the All Star break?
Uh, I think, obviously the ceiling for them is a championship. That's a crazy because, a year or two ago, like well, last year they made I would call a deep playoff run, taking the Mavs 7 games, and they were number one in the West without KD. So you plug in one of the greatest players of all time into that unit, obviously they're off rip going to be playoff contenders or championship contenders at that. But obviously and plus, they didn't lose that much to get him. Like, obviously, you lose in first round picks, but I don't. I'm one of those type of people like LeBron and I think it was the Rams GM.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he
F them
forget
picks.
them
Yeah.
picks, F them picks. Yeah, like I'm one of them people.
Yeah.
Like, you got to go after your championship, and they have to maximize a window. Like just seeing how 2 years ago how they were up 2-0, and Devin Booker started. I won't say he disappeared. I'll be disrespectful, but I mean I'll be respectful, but it was looking like they needed another, go-to scorer when, Devin Booker is being, double teamed and the defense is all on him, and Chris Paul is up there in age, and Ayton, that's just not his game. Add KD, you plug KD into there, and you take out Mikal Bridges, who, by the way, just had a great game the other day, and I've always felt like he was that type of guy. But obviously in a system like that, his offensive game might not be maximized. But he obviously great defender. You lose him, you lose Cam Johnson, who was already in and out the lineup this year with injury. But when he does play, he's a solid. He was a 6 man before, but he's a starter. This year because Jay
Right.
Crowder didn't play. You lose those two, and lose picks. I felt like that's a win. Like that's if we're being honest, I felt like that trade was a fleece in my opinion. And you get T.J. Warren in the deal. So you basically only lose two players because Jay Crowder wasn't playing anyway. It's a 2-for-2 trade with picks, and you got the better end of the deal. And like I said, you plug in KD with Devin Booker, and now you give Devin Booker gets to be the number two option on a playoff team. I don't think any team wants to see them, at any point in the playoffs. And we haven't seen them play together, but Devin Booker in the mid range, KD in the mid range, going to open up a lot for other people. I'm not sure. I think they got Terrence Ross.
Yeah.
They have like I said, T.J. Warren. They have people that are still coming back. I'm sure they're going to pick up somebody in the buyout market if they haven't. They just picked up Terrence Ross in the buyout market, but they can.
Hmm.
I heard today they might get Kevin Love. So, when you have two, elite, in my opinion, two damn near top 10 players on your team, like, then, that's always going to translate to success. And then you got Monty Williams, and you still have DeAndre Ayton, which I've seen a lot of people, disrespecting him and, underrating him over the past few weeks. And, that's still at best a 20-10 guy. Obviously, the number one question for them is probably defense and health because Chris Paul, is up in age. Like I say, he's 38. Devin Booker is coming off some hamstring injuries this past playoffs and this year. I'm not sure if it was a hand. I think it might have been a knee injury. And KD has had his own knee injuries the past few years. So as long as they're healthy, I don't really, if I'm being completely honest, I don't see any team in the Western Conference beating them. Now, if we're talking about, down the line in the playoffs, that's like in the finals, if they're going to make it to the finals, is another conversation. But
Yeah.
in the Western Conference, if they're healthy, I definitely think this year is like championship or bust, even though they just got together and they haven't played a game. And they probably won't play together until March. But just with those 3, 4 talents on the team, with like I said, more I feel like their depth is a bit overrated, not overrated, but like underrated. Because people are asking like who's coming off the bench, and Josh Okogie is having some strong
Yeah.
games
Yeah.
recently, especially on the defensive end. They got Damian Lee on that bench who's shooting, I believe he's shooting over 40% from
Yeah.
three this year,
He
averaging
is.
like 10 points. And he's still an okay defender. Like they have, a bunch of plug-in pieces that can be solid. So, yeah, like I said, no team wants to see them. Like yeah. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing how they play together.
Yeah. And everything you said was pretty much spot on for the most part. D Book coming back from a groin, I believe. And then and that finally, I wouldn't say he disappeared. I think if I and again I may be getting the games wrong. Either game 5-6 or game 4-5. He had 40 in both. I just more so think the problems came down to Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. And again, the lack of having that other scorer to credit to your point with the double teams and so forth. This when the trade first hit, I had to make a space instantly. Shout out to had about 200, 300 people
At
in
two
there.
in the morning, you made a space.
Yeah, 1 o'clock in the morning. 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeesh.
Yeah, man. Look, shout out to all the people that came in there. But like something like that happened. And again, I love Devin Booker. Easily one of my top two favorite players. You now pair Kevin Durant with that. I think the fit is going to be so seamless and just like it's easy to integrate a guy like Kevin Durant within your offense. again, to Mikal, I love the points that you said. I think that he couldn't display, although I wanted him to, but he couldn't display the offensive game or the leap that he needed to take that team to the next level. You have a number one draft pick in DeAndre Ayton, and if redrafted, Devin Booker probably will go 1, 2, or 3 in his respective draft class as well. Um, I think their offense is more so catered to, let's see what D Book can do on a night to night basis, DeAndre Ayton, and then also while Chris Paul is running the helm. And we all know how
Mm.
Chris Paul plays point guard for the most part. You know, he loves to get the ball, he loves to try to set things up, and I don't think Bridges was a focal point. So shout out to Bridges um, in Brooklyn and Cam in Brooklyn. I do agree it was a 2 for 2 trade. They added Darius Baisley as well alongside of Ross.
Oh,
So
I see. I said all those names. I forgot that
yeah,
they
Darius
traded.
Baisley, but I don't know how much he gonna play though. But I do think he gonna get a little bit of run here and there. And again, I do
That's a solid wing guy though.
yeah,
Like
Darius Baisley
that's
is
what they
solid.
need, especially because like I said, injuries. Like you don't know you don't know what's gonna happen in the play. Like we saw Devin Booker get hurt in the first round of the playoffs
Yep.
last year. So you
Yep.
need like wing to, in, especially coming for KD. Well, not coming from KD, but like we saw a lot last year how KD in the playoffs struggled. One because they didn't have a bunch of shooters or anybody else that could create their shot. And two, defense wise, it was nobody out there. He was running out there with Goran Dragic
Yeah.
and Andre Drummond.
Yeah.
And now you have some solid defensive wings off the bench and some solid, like I said, 3-point shooters in Terrence Ross and Damian Lee and TJ Warren off the
Mm-hmm.
bench. So they have wing depth in Jock Londale. I know people might not feel great about
Yeah.
him, but I feel like he's a serviceable big to sub in for Aiden. And like I said, even if you don't feel like Kevin Love just got bought out,
Mm-hmm.
so they have a lot of different angles that they could choose to build this roster. And even if they don't get it done this year, next year they're going to be even better because they're going to have chemistry. I don't know if Chris Paul
Yeah.
stays or what's going
Yeah.
on with that. I know his contract is like partially guaranteed for next year or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, I know I've been hearing like Kyrie talking about going to the Suns. Now that'd be crazy.
Yeah,
But
that would be crazy. Everything you said, I love it. We're gonna circle or spin to another team that made a splash move. Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic. They are now together in Dallas. Luka's obvious his first time playing alongside a talent and a guy like Kyrie Irving within his short 5 year career so far. The Mavs are currently 31-29. Since the trade, they are 2-3, and Luka and Kyrie are 0-2 together. I'm gonna go ahead and get your thoughts on this pairing. What's your potential expectation for them? And then I'm gonna go ahead and give you my responses back after you finish.
well, I think them as a pairing together will be fine. They've only played 2 games together, and I see people highlighting that they 0-2, like like that matters. In my opinion, it doesn't. Like I feel like they'll be fine. It's all about repetitions. Like I'm sure the Suns, like we were just talking about them, like I'm sure that they'll have their issues when they get together. But for the most part, when I've been watching them, obviously, the biggest question, come postseason is going to be defense. Like it's only a few like they don't really have any point of attack defender
Yeah,
out on the perimeter. If we're being honest, they just
yeah, they
lost their
don't.
best
They're
one.
trying to rely on Josh Green, but I don't.
Yeah, and I like Josh Green
I
a
do too.
lot. Like,
Yeah.
but they're playing him at the 4. He like
Right.
6'4". Especially when you playing some of these bigger teams come playoff time, and there's a good chance them in the Suns and the Mavs are 4 and 5 right now, so they
Mm-hmm.
could play each other. But as far as size goes, like they don't have that much size, and I think defensively, is their biggest question mark. But offensively, the ceiling is the roof. If we're being honest, like Michael Jordan said, but the ceiling is, the sky's the limit for them, in my opinion. Like they just made a deep postseason run. Obviously, again, they had like wing defenders, and you had Jalen Brunson, Dinwiddie, and I'm missing Jalen Brunson and DFS, but like
Yeah.
for the most part, I think they should be all right. Now, when you look at the landscape of the West after this past trade deadline, I don't know. Do they get out the first round? Depending on matchup, I think they can do it. But like I said, depending on matchup, like if they catch Phoenix in the first round, I don't know if that's a favorable matchup. If they catch the Clippers in the first round, I don't know if that's a favorable matchup. But for the most part, the bottom, I mean, this roster isn't bad. It's just and Luca together, you can't double team Luca. Like we saw how when teams attempted, like the Suns last year,
Yeah.
attempted to double team Luca, how bad that went for them when Jalen Brunson started going off. So when you plug another top 15 player in next to Luca instead of Jalen Brunson, yeah, offensively, like this is going to be some of the most, in my opinion, some of the most efficient basketball. And Luca is one of the probably, in my opinion, one of the five best playoff performers I've seen in my lifetime. And he's only what 4 years in. This is his fifth year. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like he's one of them. Like, come playoff time, like, and you plug him as efficient as he is without a Kyrie Irving. You put a Kyrie next to him, he's going to be more efficient, and because of that, Kyrie is also going to be more efficient. And the Jason Kidd offense, and you got Christian Wood and Maxi Kleber is actually coming back from injury, who's a really strong defender, and he can switch out on the ring from time to time. So yeah, obviously once they get healthy, we got to see how they look together. But Christian Wood solid offensively, Maxi Kleber is okay offensively. JaVale McGee hasn't been playing, before the trade, but recently he has, and he's been okay. But they're all right in my opinion. So yeah, when you just look at from top to bottom, what they have around Luka, they probably need, like I said, some more, wing defenders, some more, probably another point of attack defender. In my opinion, I think they should go and pick up Pat Bev. Because I seen the other day they was playing the Kings and Theo Pinson was running five.
Yeah.
And it's like, come playoff time, that's just not gonna fly when you have to play, and a lot of these teams that are in that they're in cahoots with in the rankings, like not in the ranking, in the standings, like the Pelicans and the Kings and the Grizzlies, not the Grizzlies, but the my bad, the Timberwolves. Like these are all teams that have big men that are, that they, sometimes run the offense through, like Zion and
Mm-hmm.
JV, and then you got, Cat when he comes, whenever, hopefully, whenever he comes back, and Sabonis, obviously. So you're gonna need like your big men to be healthy. You're gonna have to be able to rely on them in the playoff settings to lock up. But yeah, no, for the most part, Luka and Kyrie, I think it'll be a good pairing. Hopefully, Kyrie stays after the season so they can really build something. And as Luka grows, I think Kyrie's a great number two to him. And even times when Luka's having an off night, we know Kyrie is liable to go off for 40. So
No,
I think it's a really good pairing.
yeah, this is another trade that I completely loved. Obviously, I got to see two of my favorite players add two not just dynamic players but dynamic scorers to their roster. It's been a little shaky throughout the first two games, mainly because that they played together. Mainly because I feel like in the first half, Luka was giving Kyrie good looks, or just he was getting good looks in general, and he was just off in the first half. But both games against Sac and Minnesota, he did turn it up in the fourth. Super turned it up in the fourth against Minnesota. I think he had about 20 plus in the 24
Yeah,
point.
21. He had
Yeah.
21 in the fourth, and then they got too passive towards the end of the game.
Yep. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, you shoot the ball. No, you shoot the ball. Like, and
yeah.
and
So,
that's gonna take time. And I'm sure Jason Kidd is gonna start implementing stuff. So they can both get the looks that they
yeah.
need. So, I personally think Luka can work fine off the ball. Like Luka, I don't know what his number is, or as a catching shooter, like catching shooting
Hmm.
jump shots, but on like behind the 3-point line. But when you put Luka in a situation where he don't got to do that, I would hope that he's gonna excel. So yeah, I feel like they're gonna be good pairing. But you go
Yeah,
ahead, my bad.
Jake. They've been saying Luca and Kyrie both said they would love to run a little two-man game throughout the course of the game and mainly down the stretch. Uh, I think to your Christian Wood point again, obviously defense is going to be a weak suit for them. But when Christian Wood did start mid-season before he or earlier in the season before he got hurt, I think he was doing 21, 10, and two blocks over the span of 7 games. He got hurt. Now they got him coming off the bench behind Dwight. And I think if he was playing down the stretch against both of those Minnesota and that sack game, it probably could have been a little better and beneficial because he was stretching the floor out. In Minnesota, I think he scored like 18 points straight in the second, or not straight, but 18 points alone or 16 points alone in the second quarter. So they're going to try to see what's best for them. I think they just might as well just ride out with Kyrie, Luka, and Wood within the starting lineup, filled out with Josh Green and maybe Tim or Reggie, whoever they prefer. But I think Christian Wood definitely down the stretch or throughout the course of the game, we'll have to see more minutes than Dwight Powell. He's not even that much of a factor defensively, to be honest with you. He's not stopping none of the other bigs in the West, and Christian Wood isn't stopping them either. So I'll
Yeah.
just lean towards Wood for the offense and also the floor spacing, and hopefully, I think J Kid's probably going to lean towards that as well. Um,
Mhm.
Before we start talking about some of the other teams or just one final, other teams around the league, I don't want to miss this. I'm really, really curious to hear what your thoughts on this. I don't even have any notes on this, but the Lakers, they obviously add D'Lo, Malik, Jared. What's your thoughts on them getting Russ out of there, Pat Bev out of there, and they even added Obama? I'm sorry. And you add those four
Uh,
guys, and even Rui prior to that. How are you feeling about the Lakers right now?
I So I am a Lakers fan,
Oh,
quote unquote.
okay.
I'm a LeBron guy. So I'm obviously rocking with the Lakers. I'm a Bulls fan, first always, but and they're not having the best year, so I'm kind of off them right now. But uh, I feel like obviously, I'm not gonna say addition by subtraction because they did get better. They got better pieces back for Russ, but the way that they were talking about, and I don't know how true it is, but the way that they were talking about Russ in the locker room, and from what I saw, it kind of been some accountability issues. Um, about just him getting benched and him not want to hold his play accountable. Like I said, addition by subtraction. But altogether, you replace I mean Russ with D'Lo, Malik Beasley, and one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best young defenders in the league,
Yeah.
um, and Jared Vanderbilt. Yeah, the sky's the limit for them. Like if this was the team to start the year out, they would have been like top three, top four in the West right now. But for the most part, I think it's a great move. You give LeBron and AD finally some space to work out in the pick and roll. I've been really vocal about how I felt about Darvin Ham. Some of Darvin Ham's rotations are just at times just from in my. I'm not gonna say. Well, let me not say that,
Yeah,
but
I knew
I
I
feel
knew
like
last game he was for sure going to switch that lineup to Low
I would
Beasley.
hope
Yeah, I knew
because
he was going
it's
to do that for sure. Been a
because
little rough.
when you have D'Lo and Schroeder, and they're still gonna play minutes together, but D'Lo and Schroeder, it's like you want to give D'Lo, and I seen an interview he gave. He was like, "Yeah, I want to give D'Lo like the reins to the offense." Well, how are you going to do that when Schroeder is running the
Right.
offense like he has been all year at starting point guard? But like I was saying, you give LeBron and AD some time or some space to operate in the pick and roll. That's going to open up things for everybody else, and you couldn't do that with Westbrook on the floor. You couldn't do that to an efficient clip with Pat Bev on the floor. You couldn't do that when you run in three guard lineups, which he's still doing. And like I said, that's somewhat of a Darvin Ham issue. But now you have wings where you're forced to not run those type of lineups. So now you have you plug in Malik Beasley, who I believe is like they said he's seventh in threes this year.
Mm-hmm.
D'Lo is he's shooting above 40% in the year 2023. So yeah, like I said, it really I feel like offensively it really is gonna open everything up with LeBron and AD pick and roll, getting D'Lo and Malik Beasley looks, and that's also gonna open up who again I think Rui's a solid 3-point shooter, given a space. He's a solid mid range shooter. Like spacing isn't just about buying the art. It's about also like mid range game. What can open up for everybody else. And yeah, I just feel like they have enough offensively, and I felt offensively was their main problem. Now, defensively, they probably did get a little worse, perimeter wise,
Yeah.
because they lose a point of attack defender and Pat Bev. So like you seen the other day, Dame went off for 40,
Mm-hmm.
30 in the first half. Like that stuff like that is liable to happen. But you got to give it time too. And I feel like this unit is capable being good, solid defensively when you have AD and Jared Vanderbilt, and Jared Vanderbilt can switch, in my opinion, like I've seen him switch 1 through 5
Yeah.
and be
Yeah.
able to,
Facts. Facts.
shade people from the free throw line. He's shading. I seen him the other day. He was shading. I think I forget who he was guarding. I think it like they played the Pelicans. I think he was guarding Brandon Ingram, and like CJ came down and he was shading him from the free throw line, and it looked like Brandon Ingram was open, and then he closed the gap quick because he has that type of speed, and he has that type of length as well. He closed the gap quick and was able to get out there and contest the shot, and like so yeah, like they have, you have, somebody out like, I'm not gonna say he's a point of attack defender, but I feel like if you put him in those situations, you put him in those scenarios, who's to say he can't do
Yep.
it? And
Yep.
like he has the length, like I said, he has the size, he has the speed, and the agility to be able to move back and lateral quickness, all that. Like he had all. I think he's a highly capable, in my opinion, maybe one day an All NBA level defender.
Yeah. For sure. For
So
sure. For sure.
so all defensive, level defenders. So all together, you look at this team top to bottom, there's talent throughout the roster. I don't know what they're going to do next year, but I think. But the question, that remains to be seen is, can they put it all together in the playoffs? And regardless, they're gonna have to play in the play-in, if they want to make it. I know that that's I seen AD say like he doesn't want to play in the play-in. Well,
He said that
that's
this
kind
year.
of he said that a
How
few weeks
recent was
ago.
that?
Like that was like in January, but
Oh,
like
okay. Okay. Okay.
but that's what I'm saying. He was like, "Yeah, we don't want to play in the play-in. We want to be in the playoffs." Well, oh well, they're gonna have to be in the play-in.
Yeah.
But
That's why I
so yeah,
asked that. Yeah, man. To
Yeah,
the
so
Lakers.
but altogether, do
Oh, go
I
ahead.
think that they can make the playoffs? Yeah, but will they remains to be seen. If I had to bet on it, I don't know if I would, but no, I will tell you, no team wants to see the Lakers in the first round. No team wants to see the Lakers in the play-in. So,
No,
yeah.
I definitely agree with you. As far as the Lakers standpoint, that was actually the team in my space we picked like trade deadline winners. That was the team that was number one for me. Now, obviously, I know
Mhm.
Phoenix add Kevin Durant. I know Kyrie Irving went to Dallas, but I just think that when you can add four guys that can be an immediate impact to your team and also fill one of the biggest, if not the biggest, needs on your team, which was outside shooting, and now you incorporate those guys in your starting lineup alongside LeBron. Um, it was OKC when LeBron broke the record. They were literally shading two or having two on LeBron's side all throughout the
Yeah.
whole entire game. So now you
Mhm.
can't really do that when D'Lo and Malik will be off ball now. So shout out to Lakers for that.
And that's
Again,
what they do all the time. That's every single time. Like I said, when Russ is in the game, especially
yep,
down the
yep.
stretch,
They put the
they're
center on
shading
Russ.
LeBron and AD. Yeah, and
Yep,
LeBron and Russ is getting guarded by the big man from the paint. So it's
yep,
like, it's not much that he can do. So it's like now you can't do that. And now it's gonna give LeBron more efficient buckets at the rim. It's gonna give AD some more looks when LeBron is getting, when people are closing out on LeBron as he goes to the rim, giving AD more dish off attempts at the rim. And it's gonna give, like you said, D'Lo, Malik Beasley, Austin Reeves, they have shooters, Rui, like they have shooters on the roster, like they have capable shooters on the roster. So it's like you can't do that anymore. So offensively, they're gonna look much better as long as Darvin Ham sticks to solid rotations. They'll be
for
okay.
sure, for sure. All right, so before I start to talk to you about who you have potentially making the Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals, I have one more person that I want to talk to you about who's having an amazing season. I think he's at 24, 11, and 10. Only has one game below 50% from the field. Pretty absurd if you ask me. Nikola Jokic, well on his way to his third straight MVP title. Obviously, it's a lot of people pissed, mad, upset about that, feeling the type of way about that on Twitter. As far as other superior talents in the league like Giannis, Embiid, maybe even Tatum will say. How are you feeling about Jokic overall, and then how are you feeling about him winning his potential third straight MVP award?
I don't mind him winning his third MVP. I know people are up in arms about it, and it's a big deal right now on Twitter. But I don't mind it because last year he won MVP without his two best players on the team. The year before that, he won it without Jamal Murray being there in the postseason, or a little bit before that, and he was the MVP beforehand, before they even went on there. Before Jamal Murray got hurt and they went to the second round.
True.
And just looking at him creating out of the post, him creating at the top of the key, him also, like you just said, averaging 25, 12, and 10 a game on a damn near 65% shooting and 40% from three. Like, who else in the league is doing that? Who else in the league is he's a top five playmaker in my opinion, especially because I value a lot of players on what they do in the postseason. And every year in the postseason, he shows up. No matter who's on the team. Like last year, he's playing Draymond Green, one of the best interior defenders in the league, one of the best, switchable defenders in the league. And he's averaging 30 on Draymond.
Yeah,
30,
yeah,
all of his averages are going up come playoff time, especially scoring averages. And we see that every single year he goes to the playoffs. So do I feel like he's MVP? Yeah, he's deserving of MVP, especially now that he's got his two best players back, and it's not even like MPJ hasn't even been playing, all that crazy this year. But you add a KCP, you add a Christian Braun who's a rookie this year, you add a Bruce Brown, you add all these other plug-in pieces, and now everybody's having career seasons. Like I think KCP was, I don't know if he still is, but he was at a certain point in time leading the league in 3-point percentage. Like it's like it's just people getting the easier looks. It's like a lot with the LeBron and AD thing.
mm,
Like you play with better players, you give players space, they're gonna you're gonna see success. And I just don't think when you look at around the league, like Embiid, obviously is an MVP level player. Is he deserving of an MVP? Sure, but when you look around, you see Jokic, doing what he's doing right now. It's just unfortunate. So maybe back when we look back, we're gonna be like, yeah, Embiid, and I hope it doesn't get lost to how great Embiid of a player, how great of a player Embiid is. When we look back, 20 years from now, people might discredit him because he doesn't have an MVP, or just stuff like, or he doesn't have a All NBA first team selection. Like and I
yeah.
like so I feel like Embiid is an MVP level player, but you just look at what Jokic is doing for his team. He's just and the most valuable. Like he's the most valuable to the success. You know, we've never seen a big man like him, and yeah, I think he's well deserving of the third straight. I think he's the only person since Larry Bird to do it.
Yeah,
He's the
yeah,
first person since Larry Bird to
yeah.
do it. So, and I think he's deserving of it. Like I feel like when we look at his legacy, years from now, I think he's gonna go down as probably like a top 20 player in the league all time. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. So I'm not going to mimic pretty much everything that you just said. Well deserving of it. Easily one of, if not the best player in the NBA. I know that debate is a little heated around, who's the best player in the NBA. You can throw out many names: Curry, Giannis, KD, Luka, um, Jokic. So
Yeah, I think Giannis is the best player, but Jokic is deserving of MVP.
yeah,
Just,
for
just
sure, for sure. And I'm in the same breath with you, in that one. So shout out to Jokic for that. Three straight MVPs. Hopefully he can, at least make a Western Conference here, if not the finals. And again, his game does evolve or arise in the playoffs every year so far. So we'll see how he do this year coming up. All right, so we both got Jokic, obviously getting his third straight MVP title. I'm gonna go ahead and ask you about the other awards: Coach of the Year, Most Improved Rookie, Six Man, DPOY. How you feel about those? Who you got winning?
so okay, I'm gonna just start. So we already started with MVP. Just from top to bottom, I'm gonna go Coach of the Year is probably Joe Mazzulla. Joe Mazzulla. He was put in a tough position coming in, and people doubted him, saying that Ime was the defense, Ime was the whole scheme, and he's came back in. I think they have the best record in the league right now. They're on their way to 60 wins again. So, I think you know I think he should be the front runner, and you can obviously talk about Mike Malone and what he's doing. And I've always felt like he's been a solid and capable coach, but I think just Joe Mazzulla, based off of all the discourse that happened when Ime got demoted, and I just think he's probably deserving of it this year, and given that they didn't lose any and, I felt like Ime should have got more credit last year, going from the 10th seed to the first to the well, I think it was the second seed in the East. I felt like Ime should have got a lot of credit for that. But to be fair, they out of the gate last year they started bad. Like I just said, it was the 10th in the East. So that's probably why he didn't get it. But from the jump this year, the Celtics have always, were the best team in the league. Record wise, they've always, been far and wide, not far and wide, but they've always been the best team in the league this year, just from the get go. So I would give it to Joe Mazzulla.
For me, so you just not going all of them straight. I love the Joe Mazzulla points. I did not even expect you to say that. But I think they've been the one seed, if not 90% of the year. I think Milwaukee took it for probably a
Hmm.
day or two. And that was that. So shout out to Boston for that. I love that pick. I'm gonna probably go with another pick that most would probably say Mike Malone. Um, they're well on their way to winning 60 games this season, with all the additions that they had this off season that you spoke about, but also the evolving of, not even evolving really, just how more of efficient and a better player he's looking like this far in Aaron Gordon. We put all that together alongside the third straight MVP, alongside, and just probably, if not the best team in the league. I think you gotta look at the guy that's coaching that squad and say, man, you're doing a great job over there. Now I know it may seem like it could be easy because what he's working with, and same could probably be said for Boston. They have one of the deepest teams in the leagues as well. Smart, Rob is back. Al is still being Al. Derek White, we see what he's doing so far this season. This man just won Player of the Week. I would have never expected Derek White to win Player of the Week. But for
Right.
me, for me, Coach of the Year, I'm gonna go with Mike Malone. And then Rookie of the Year, for me, I'm gonna go with Paulo. I think Paulo, he's been probably number one for this majority of the season. At one point, I believe in this season, he was averaging 23 points per game. Now he did hit a rookie wall as of late. I think he's either at a high 19 or a low 20 point per game. Still been easily the best rookie to me. Ben and maybe even Keegan, who started slow, maybe make a late push in the second half of the season. But I think all in all, Paulo should get that Rookie of the Year award. And then also credit to Markel Fultz for him helping them look like the Magic, look like a more of a competitive team since he's been back as well.
Facts, facts. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I just don't see anybody who else it could be other than Paulo. Like, no other rookie is really standing out after 28 game like he is. He isn't shooting the best, but that all often happens with most rookies. They're shooting, sub. I think he's shooting exactly 42% from the field, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. But like I said, like there's no other rookie. I don't think is he the only rookie averaging 20 a game this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is. So, I don't think we have to, discuss that too much. But Depoy, defensive player of the year, I think is Jaren Jackson right now. He just got voted to his first All Star game. I'm not a fan of him being an All Star over AD. That's another conversation for another day. But he is leading the league in blocks. He is the best interior defender in the league by metrics and all the I think he's like number one in, like defensive field goal. He's like number one in like opponent field goal percentage, within 6 feet. So like
Mm.
literally the best interior defender in the league, best defensive rating in the league, third in total blocks, and he's only played X amount of games because before he came into the season, he missed like the first month. So yeah, I mean, yeah, in the Grizzlies are the number one defense in the league right now. So yeah, and a lot of that is because of him. So I feel like you got other people like Robert Williams, and like, I don't think Robert Williams should qualify, but yeah, I think Jaren Jackson is also a clear cut depoy this year for me.
Yeah. To your Robert Williams point, super super duper upset about that. Because going into the season, my defensive player of the year was Bam Adebayo. I think the impact that he does for the Miami Heat on a night to night basis is like one other. Especially his the off on team defensive rating. We used to sub Dwayne Dedman. I'm saying we. I am a Heat fan, but we used to bring in Dwayne Dedman when Bam came off the court, and now it's Orlando Robinson, and it's still you can just see the defense takes a hit. We did up, I believe 2 weeks ago or last week we did become a top 10 defensive team. I haven't looked at the rankings in some time. So I was going into the season Bam, and I and in the last NBA ladder they had Rob in the top three, and Bam didn't even crack the top three, and Rob only played like you said X
Yeah.
amount of games. So that made me a little bit
Hmm.
upset. They also said that it's because Bam took like an offensive leap as well. So that's another story though. Defensive player of the year for me, it's also Jaren. So I'm not going to say too much. His impact, the way he blocks shots, is obviously if he shores up his fouling issues that he may have, he probably will run away with it even more. Also, will give him
Yeah, for
opportunity to
sure.
be on the court more for Memphis as well. But for me, defensive player of the year is Jaren. Um, Most improved. We may have different on this. Couple months ago, I was the Laurie marketing. Now I'm shifted over to Jalen Brunson. Uh, Jalen Brunson is sitting at I believe 23-6 for New York right now. You see the impact that he has on that team, and to take your point per game from 16 to 23. I mean that's clear improvement if you ask me. Again, Laurie marketing did do the same thing, but or is in the same boat for the most part. I just think that the Jazz is sort of kind of trending downwards, while New York is still afloat and they got themselves out of the play-in. So I'm gonna go ahead and shine some light on Jalen Brunson, man. That's my most improved player pick.
I wasn't even thinking about Jalen Brunson because from the get go I've always had Lori Marketing took a 11-point jump this year in points per game,
Ooh,
and he's
yeah.
shooting 42 from three, shooting over 50 from the field. He's
Mm.
averaging 25 and 8.
Ooh.
So, and you just look at
He's
Jalen
averaging
Brunson,
25 right now still. Damn.
25, and yeah, 24.8. So
Mm.
25, no, 24.9. He's averaging 25, 9 and 9 and 2. So yeah,
Oh,
on
okay.
50,
Shout out to
what is
Lori.
it? Yeah,
Damn.
50, 52, 42,
Probably high 80s.
87 split.
Yeah.
This is I think and credit to Jalen Brunson.
Mm.
But personally, I've always knew that that's who he was, especially coming off his this recent playoff run.
True.
I've
True.
always knew that that's that guy. That's who he was. And I understand. Um, he's also had a points per game, jump, and he's with the Knicks, and a lot of their success is because of him coming in that fold. But when you plug in, the other players he's playing with, Julius Randle, and you have a Quentin Grimes off the bench. You have, you just have, RJ Barrett as, a lot of people don't feel, like he's that guy, but still, like you have them being a core three, like that's a solid core in my opinion. So, but Laurie Marketing, getting 11 points per game jump
Mm.
in his averages. Like I just said, shooting 40 from three, over 50 from the field. I just don't see how it can't be Laurie. And he just got voted his first All Star. So all because of that. So yeah, for sure, I think it's Laurie marketing right now.
Okay. That's fair. Ooh, damn, 11 points. I didn't even think Laurie did an 11-point jump. But shout out to him for that. The last but not least, we have the sixth man of the year. This is sort of kind of trending towards like I want to say a runaway. I was going to say Malcolm Brogdon at a point in time. I did shift my vote as of late over the
Norman
last
Powell.
probably month to Norman Powell. Yeah, so you said Norman Powell.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
agree. It's
so
Norman
yeah,
Powell.
I
Norman,
shifted
Norman averaging 18 a game right now off the bench, and
in 25
I just literally
minutes.
just yeah, in 25 minutes,
Yeah,
he
so
averaging, and like that's crazy. And I just saw something last night. It's like I think every player off the bench who's averaged at least 15 a game for the Clippers in history has won six man of the year, something like that.
okay, so
So it
that's
was
probably
Montrez,
you, Trez,
Bluebill,
yeah,
yeah,
maybe
like
even Jamal.
so
Did
Jamal
Jamal?
Crawford, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he plugs into that same fold, and I just and you look at it around the league, like yeah, like you said, Malcolm Brogdon is probably the only other name. People saying Russ, but
yeah, I
but
did.
yeah, so but yeah, I think that's another clear cut one. Like you said, 18 and 25, shooting what he's shooting from three, and him just coming in, and when Kawhi and PG come off the floor, how he's I wouldn't say running the offense, but he's like the go-to guy. Even when they're in the game from time to time, when he has the high hand, he's the
Yeah,
go-to guy. So yeah, I think he's running away with six men of the year. I'm sure his numbers will go down in the second half now that they got Eric Gordon, who's another six man of the year winner in his career. So yeah, they got that. Man, we about to get into the Eastern and Western Conference preview.
yes,
Cause
yes, that's
shoot, the
exactly where we're
Clippers
going.
is
Before we
fake
wrap this,
stat.
up, and again, I thank you for coming on. Those that are still here, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and also give Jordan a follow on Twitter. Um,
So
Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals preview. We're gonna go ahead and start with the East. Who's the two teams you got making the Eastern Conference Finals in this one, and why?
Um, I think it's pretty clear in my opinion. But the Celtics and the Bucks. And when you look at the landscape, obviously there's some other teams like obviously the Sixers, and Cleveland. I just don't know as far as matchups go in the playoffs, because both teams, the Bucks and the Celtics, match up. In my opinion, they match up really well against both the Sixers and somewhat the Cavs, because you have capable defenders down low that's able to help swarm and be like you have Al Horford, even though he's getting up in age. You have Robert Williams, who we both was just disagreeing on him being a depoy candidate because the game's played. But if he, obviously come postseason time, he's one of the best interior defenders in the league, period. Um, so yeah, you have Rob Williams, you have different bodies you can throw at Embiid. And then obviously we know how the Celtics operate on the perimeter. They have, some of the best, one of the, if not the best point of attack defender in the league, and Marcus Smart. You have another great defender, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White. They're defensively, they're just sound everywhere. So, when you look at their matchups against like the Sixers, I think James Harden could have issues in a series like that when you have multiple people who are able to switch on him and create disadvantages for him. And you just look at I just feel like the Sixers defensively and the Celtics offensively is I just feel like there's it's just a mismatch. I think they could beat either one of those teams. And same thing for the Bucks. Bucks also have great point of attack defender in Drew Holiday, great help side defender, if not the best help side defender in the league in Giannis. One of the depoy candidates that we didn't talk about in Brook
Yeah,
Lopez. Like defensively, they just match up really well against the other teams. So yeah, I think those two will see each other in the Eastern Conference Finals.
yeah. Same here. I would have loved for the Heat to make some mid-season additions or even preseason additions because the teams that we're speaking on, most of the teams around the league, if you want to be serious and you want to win and try to compete or to win the championship at the end of the day, they all make moves. Miami didn't make any moves. Cleveland, they added who they added. Uh, Philly, they added PJ DeAnthony and now Jalen McDaniels, who's also a solid, good basketball player. Milwaukee, they added Joe Ingles. Can't remember anything else off the top of my head.
No Ingles, Jay Crowder,
Yeah,
they
Jay
got
Crowder
now.
now.
So yeah,
In Boston, Malcolm Brogdon, that's the biggest fish. One of the biggest fishes of the offseason. Danilo, he was a good addition as well, but he tore his ACL. I think they sort of kind of replaced him in a mini way with Mike Muscala now. So shout out to them for
Yeah.
that. I do think the Bucks and Celtics are the two favorites to for sure making it in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I can't wait to see that matchup again, man. With Chris Middleton healthy, hopefully. Bobby Porter's there again. So it should be a good one. We're going to go ahead and circle to the Western Conference now. Talk to me, man. Who you guys making the Western Conference Finals?
I don't know. I
Yeah,
really
I
don't.
don't know
You look
either.
at I don't know. I want to say, I'm gonna give Jokic his respect. I'm gonna say Jokic. Jamal Murray's been playing really well recently too. So I'm gonna say the Nuggets for now. But given a matchup with if they get a bad matchup in the first round, and when I say bad matchup, and I know this is like a regular hot take right now on Twitter, but the Nuggets see the Lakers in the first round. Ooh.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know who win that one. If everybody healthy, I don't know. But like that's the only you don't want to see the Lakers in the first round if you're the Nuggets. But if that doesn't happen or in general, I'm still gonna take the Nuggets, and I think the Nuggets can make it to the Western Conference Finals. And I don't know. I want to say the Clippers, but you obviously you can't count out the Suns. You can't count out. Well, yeah, I think those are the three teams that can be in the Western Conference Finals. Obviously, only two of them can be. So if I had to bank, I'm gonna say, and I don't know. I'm gonna say the Clippers. I think the Clippers are gonna do it. I don't think the Suns. I think the Suns might need some more time to gel. Um,
Okay.
for that to actually work in a postseason. But give or take, they can obviously the Suns can be either one of those teams in a seven
Yeah.
game series. I'm sure of it. But
Uh,
if you had to bank on it, I think the Clippers you just look at their roster construction. Like Kawhi is back to playing at a Kawhi level, a top 10 player in the league level. PG is Paul George. Like, obviously Marcus Morris isn't having a good year, but you just traded for Eric Gordon, who as we just talked as in I just watched the game last night against the Suns. He had Devin Booker in a box. And and he people don't recognize him as a great defender, but I don't think he's a great defender, but he's a solid defender. And he's he has some, bulk on him.
yeah, for
So
sure.
especially come playoff time, when you playing teams like Luca, players like Luca, or you're playing players like BI or Ja, like you have to have switchable wings that also can provide size. And and I think I wouldn't call him a point of attack defender, but I think he can be one of those, at the top of the key. And and I know the Clippers are still in the buyout market, so they could get Russ or they could get Pat Bev.
Yep.
Um, but so like, either way, you just like I said, the rest of the roster construction and Mason Plumlee. Bones Highland is playing well. Oh well, he hasn't been playing well. He just got to the team, but I'm just really confident in this roster top to bottom. Like I said, Norman Powell too. So yeah, like they have a lot of great movable pieces, switchable pieces, and they have one of the best players in the league, one of the best postseason performers that I've ever seen in Kawhi Leonard. Last time we saw him in the postseason, he was putting up like 35 a game on like crazy splits, like 65 from the field, 45 from three, 90 from the free throw. Like, you don't see that
Yeah.
often. He seems to be back to his offensive form and defensively, he's still a solid defender. So, yeah, I just, I'll give the Clippers the edge over the Suns for now. So I think it'll be the Nuggets and the Suns.
That's fair.
Nuggets and the Clippers.
The same way you feel about the Lakers. Potentially matching up one of those top two or maybe even top three seeds. I feel that way about
Oh
the.
yeah, if the Lakers was able to get my bad, if the Lakers were able to get to seven, if they play the Grizzlies in the first round, the Lakers are beating the Grizzlies.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry,
I think the Lakers will beat the
the
Grizzlies
Lakers
too
will
for
beat in
sure.
the second round.
Yeah, I think the Lakers beat them too for sure. I feel the way. I know they're not having the best year. I know they're fresh off a championship, but the Warriors, man, if healthy, I just don't know. I still feel like they may be able to cause some problems to some of those top teams. That same way you feel about the Lakers, but all in all, I do think when it comes down to chemistry and continuity and gelling and knowing where players want to be and late game situations, I do think that may be some issues that the Suns may come across, but the high IQ that Chris Paul and Kevin Durant have, I think they're gonna be able to just plug it in and just figure it out so fast. I know it's only gonna be 2 months to get it all understood and whatnot, but I think they can do that. I think the Suns are for sure going to the Western Conference Finals. Now, when it comes to the other team, the Nuggets obviously play, if not one of the best basketball in the league. The way they move the ball, the way they have Jokic as the best player and best playmaker under the helm, I think they should make the Western Conference Finals. But another guy that you didn't speak on, as far as the Clippers standpoint, Mason Plumlee. That addition as well. Everything that he can do for them behind Zubac, it could cause some problems for other Western Conference teams. I'm not saying Jokic because it's pretty much he's a hard guy to deal with and a hard guy to slow down. So I do understand your Clippers points, but for me, I'm gonna just go ahead and ride with the Suns and the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals right now. As far as the Eastern Conference, we already spoke on that. So my last two questions to you: we have the Bucks, Celtics. You have the Clippers and Nuggets. Who you got winning those series, and then who do you got winning the finals?
So I'm gonna start off with the West. I think, and again, this is really all a toss up because, like I said, it could not even be one of those teams might not even be in it. I think the Suns could be in it and make the finals and win the finals potentially. But, I'm just, but in that series, I'm probably gonna take. Give me the Nuggets in seven.
Ooh,
Like you just look at, like I said, what Jokic is doing. He's a playoff riser. Jamal Murray, another known playoff riser this year. And then they have pieces coming off the bench. Like I said, Bruce Brown just met in the playoffs, and we saw the Clippers win. We saw the Nuggets beat the Clippers and come back 3-1. They had a bunch of wing defenders that was able to switch on PG and Kawhi, and Jokic just Jokic just had it. Obviously Jamal Murray was like the leading force offensive, no scoring wise for them, but offensively Jokic was having his way with Zubac down low. Getting him in foul trouble. Then Montrez will come in. Now you have Mason Plumlee come in, who again just not a solid defender in my opinion. Defensively, just and you're talking about the three-time MVP like we're talking about.
mm-hmm.
So, and then come playoff time, that's a lot to scheme for. It's a lot to scheme for Jokic. Jokic could easily go for 30-point triple double, while you also have Jamal Murray on the team. You have 40+ % 3-point shooter and Michael Porter Jr. You have Aaron Gordon playing at a high level. You have, like I said, like I just named everybody anyway, but so you have all those players. And like I said, defensively, that is their number one question. I will say that defensively, how will they look in the postseason? So, damn, thinking about it now, oh no, I'm gonna still side with the Nuggets. I'm gonna still side with
Okay.
you. But yeah, like I said, defensively, if they want to make a championship run, their defense is gonna have to take a leap because they had a solid. I think in the month of January, they took a leap defensively. They had a solid run as a unit on the other end of the floor, but they're gonna have to keep that up going into the playoffs. And I think that they can do it. I think that they, like I said, they have the personnel to be able to. Now they have enough wing defenders, and this is a wings league. And
Yeah.
you're talking about the Clippers, that's a team full of wings, and they have the personnel, in my opinion, to be able to switch on and just create problems defensively for the Clippers. So I'm gonna pick the Nuggets in that
All
series.
right. For the Western Conference, for me, I matched up with the Suns and the Nuggets. I'm gonna just be all in on the Suns this year, man. I got the Suns making the finals. As far as the Eastern Conference, I'm gonna go ahead and. I've been saying it all year, so I don't see the point, or I don't see any valid reason to change my stance. I think the Celtics make the finals as well. Um, man, I I'll wait till you say who you got making the finals for I announce my winner in that one. I really can't.
I think, yeah, I also have the Celtics. Just again, just um, the Bucks. I think it goes seven like it did last year, and even though that they have like I said, Joe Ingles now, they have Jay Crowder now. Middleton hopefully will be healthy for that series and back. I know right now he's still coming off the bench, but hopefully by then he'll be back in a rhythm. Um, but you just look at Boston defensively and offensively, it's just like I feel like it might be too much for, the Bucks to I'm not gonna say scheme for, but to overcome. And the Bucks are gonna there's some of their best lineups against, a Celtics team, that is already small, that can go small and is stringent enough defensively where they don't have to go super big to match up. I just feel like there's gonna be times where they're gonna have to take their best rim protector, which is Brook Lopez, off the floor, and get Giannis away from the paint with Tatum on switches, and I just feel like they can create a lot of disadvantages. Now, when you got Jay Crowder now and you have like other wing defenders, like they have, like, again, this is another team full of wings. You have Bobby Portis also. Um it's going to be a close series. It's going to be a close series, but if I had to bank on it, I just think the Celtics, this might be the year to win it all. Um and Tatum's gonna have to play a little bit better. I haven't seen Tatum recently hasn't been playing
Yeah,
that well. He
yeah,
plays well. Yeah, he's inconsistent. Like he
yeah,
plays well against bad teams. Like he's going off against the Rockets and the Pistons and stuff like that. Like
yeah.
he's going off against bad teams, and
The
he's still
Hornets.
one of the best players in the league for sure. But obviously, we saw him in the playoffs. He was a playoff riser up until the finals. We saw him win Eastern Conference MVP, and in the biggest moment in Game Five against, I think it was Game Five. Yeah, no, it was Game Six against the Celtics. I mean, against the Bucks.
Mm.
He showed up, dropped 46, and I believe as a player, come postseason time, that's who he is. I think he's shown that he can do it. And Jaylen Brown, we don't, he's an all-star this year, but I feel like, I was one of the people that kind of underrated him to an extent last year. Like I didn't feel like, I feel like he was getting a bit overrated because of his play in the finals and how bad Tatum played in the finals and how he showed up. But this year we're seeing him, play at a top 20, if not top 15 player in the league level. On the defensive end and offensively, he's been even more efficient. This is his best season yet. So, that 1-2 punch combined with all the other factors that we talked about, Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White being on the tear that he is right now. I'm sorry, Marcus Smart coming back from injury and still being that great defender that he is, and Robert Wood, like they have all the pieces around them to be successful, and I think that they get it. I think that they're going to beat the Celtics, not the Celtics. I think they can beat the Bucks in 6 games. I'll give them 6 games.
Okay. As far as the finals and overall, and again, thank you. It's the last two. I mean, last question for you. Before we get up out of here, as far as the finals overall for me, I did have Boston winning it all. Pretty much probably just like October or November. Um,
So you ride with Phoenix
yeah,
all
I
the
ain't even
way.
going to give you an. I don't got an answer yet. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't got an answer right now. I want to see Phoenix play basketball for a month or two. But when it comes down to Boston, though, these are the last two teams that made the finals and lost in the finals. Obviously, so they both have that chase and that hunger to get back and to feel experience it and potentially even to win it. I just think that when it comes down to it, Boston just going to be have too much offensively and defensively. So I'm not riding with Phoenix, but I'm gonna still stick with my Celtics pick. But I would want Phoenix to win. So I do think Boston, if they make the finals, they are going to win the final. I think they're the best team and probably the hardest team to play with and deal with in a 7 game series. If it extends that far with everything that they have, top to bottom, they can go 1 through 10 on a night to night basis, 1 to 9. It don't really matter. So I'm going with Boston to win it all this year.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I think Boston wins it all. I think they match up really well against most teams in the league. We didn't even talk. I didn't even say Grant Williams, and
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like he's a 20 mil type of guy. I know that's like another debate on Twitter.
yeah,
People saying he's
yeah,
not worth the money.
yeah.
I think he is, but yeah, like I have Boston. So in my prediction, it would be Boston over Denver. And just top to bottom, I think, like I just said, they match up really well against most teams. Against the Nuggets, they match up extremely well. Again, just being able to have a slew of wings, a slew. When I say a slew of point of attack defenders, yeah, they're just top to bottom, in my opinion, just the best, most complete team in the league this year. And I think it's going to be really rewarding to see Tatum and Brown win a championship after few years ago, people were saying they should trade the core. Or even this last year, they were saying this summer, they were saying they should trade Jaylen Brown and Smart for KD. And,
Yeah.
they just have all the pieces around them, in my opinion, top to bottom. Because, even when rotations come, when it's time to move somebody out the game, they have pieces that can come in. They basically 8, 9 starters,
I
in
was just
my
about to
opinion,
say
starting
that.
college
Yep, I was
players
just about to say that.
so it's like they have all the pieces that they need, and they fit the scheme, they fit the system, they fit what Joe Mazzulla's doing over there. And in a matchup with the Nuggets, I just feel like they get the edge.
Yes,
So
sir. Well, look, Jordan. Again, thank you. This will conclude episode 84. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you guys check out Jordan and everything that he's doing on Twitter. You can tell me your Twitter name
Yeah,
again, bro.
follow me on Twitter at jdavis34 underscore, Instagram jdavis34. I also have a photography page where I'm shooting pictures at Duke, shooting pictures at North Carolina A&T, just shooting local basketball in my region. On there it's at shot by J Davis. So yeah, so you can just follow me, like I said, again on Twitter, jdavis34 underscore, and yeah. So appreciate you for
All right.
having me on, Ed, for
No
real.
questions. Appreciate you coming on, bro.